All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make a really smooth transition, get a great weight shift, so I'm not going to be rushed at all, but I'm going to get some pretty good speed. So I got a 6-iron here. Let's go ahead and see what I can do. There we go, hit that one really nice, straight as a string. And you'll notice I was very smooth there, but I was able to get almost 100 miles an hour clubhead speed with this 6-iron, 99 miles an hour. Tour average is about 93, 94. I got 192 yards of carry on that, so it probably rolled out to over 200. And hit that really, really solid. So how can we get that much speed but look so smooth while we're doing that in the transition? Most players just have their weight shift totally wrong. And if you make the mistake of having the improper weight shift, or more specifically, a very late weight shift, it's going to look really jerky. On this swing, I'm going to make the incorrect weight shift. I'm going to feel like I get way too late of a weight shift on the backswing and the downswing, and you're going to see it just looks all out of whack. So here's the mistake that I see a lot of players make. They don't get to the right early enough, and then they don't get to the left early enough. So they wait until the downswing to start their shift to left, and it looks something like this. So now my body is kind of out of sync with everything else, and even though that one went fairly straight, I just so happened to get the face squared up. It was thin, it was off the heel, it actually felt like more effort, and my swing speed went down probably 10, 15 miles an hour. Let's check it out here. Yeah, it went down 16, 17 miles an hour. The distance went way down, and it looked worse while I was doing it. It looked even more jerky while I was doing that. So let's go over the wrong weight shift and the right weight shift and how to do this. The number one thing that I see is players get to the right way too late and to the left way too late. What I mean by this is a lot of times players will set up with their weight on their lead foot, and they'll wait until they're about back here before it ever starts going to the right foot or starts shifting to the right. Well, with the advantage of all these high-tech force plates and all these measurements that we can take now, we know the best players in the world are getting that weight shift very early. So they're going to have the most transition to the right, or the most weight moving to the right, almost before the club even starts to move. For me, I kind of lift my left heel, or lift my left toe, excuse me, and get my weight bumping to the right before I even move the club. So I want to feel like that weight is moving to the right before the club even goes, and it's going to feel like it's pretty daggone far on my right side when I'm right here. So I get that weight shift very early, almost like in the first foot of the backswing, and that gets everything moving over there. If you tend to struggle getting to the right early enough, all I recommend doing is starting out with a little bit more weight on your right foot. So here, I probably got about 55, 60% on my right foot, and 35, 40, 55, whatever it is on my left foot. So I'm a little bit slightly toward my right foot is all I'm trying to say there. The number doesn't have to be exact. If you're 55, 45, or 60, 40, it doesn't make any difference. It's just saying you really need to get it to the right very early. Don't get caught up in the exact percentage there. So if you want to feel like you start with a little bit more pressure on the inside of the right foot, I like to feel it on my toe right here, just on the inside of the toe, the kind of the ball of the foot. That's where I want to start out at. Now from here, you're going to see that's going to smooth out my transition because I'm already ahead of my weight shift. It's already going to the right. Just a nice little draw there. Again, didn't feel like I had to rush it. Swing speed was high. Weight shift was really good. Now, the next thing, once you get your weight to the right early enough, you got to get it back to the left early enough. And here's the real kicker. There's two little moves that I like to do for this. What we found with the best players in the world is that when their hands get about right here, they're already starting to shift their weight to the left. Here's the way I want you to feel like that. When your hands get about right here in the backswing, I want you to feel like you bump out your left knee and get your weight going to your left foot. And at the same time, you have the hands just kind of float back here. I don't want to yank down on the hands really quickly. As I shift to the left, I want my hands to kind of float in the backswing, and I want my shaft to shallow out as that's happening. So that's going to look something like this. My hands are about chest high in the backswing. I kick out my left leg and bump to the left. And at the same time, my hands stay roughly in the same position, but this shaft kind of shallows out as I'm doing that. So I get that little bump, a little bit of open to the left, weight's moving to the left, and at the same time when I'm doing that, I'm shallowing out that shaft. When I do that in a real swing, it's going to look something a little bit more like this. Right? So I'm letting that bump and shallow at the same time. I wait until I've got that little bump and shallow and then I swing down. The mistake that I see almost everybody make, they get to the right, then they start swinging down as they shift to the left. That's no good. You got to get to the left and shallow, then you make your downswing. So I almost feel like my hands are floating in the backswing, so they're not pulling down, they're floating in this direction as I get my weight shift. That's the move that I want you to feel. So let's go ahead and do that one again, and notice how smooth. So all in this area, it's going to look like my hands aren't even moving at all, but I'm still going to get a ton of club head speed. I'm actually going to crank this one up and get a little extra. Let's see if I can get over 100 miles an hour club head speed, all while looking smooth while I'm doing that. Now, there's no way I'd be able to do that if my transition was rushed at all. Let's give it a whirl. There we go. Hit that one about as hard as I can. Nice little draw there, 102 miles an hour club head speed. That's good for me. 200 yards of carry, all with a 6-iron. You really got to get that weight shift down to be able to get those kind of numbers and make it look smooth at the same time. Now, the problem with this one move that we talked about here, so even if we get the weight shift to the left and that club shallowing out, a lot of times players have never been taught the right way to square up the face. So once this club starts to shallow out, you notice the face actually opens. So if I grabbed a little magnet here, stick it to the face, whenever I make my backswing, notice how when I shallow the club face, the direction that it's pointing, goes more to the sky. That's the same as having the face square and going more open like that, or out to the right. So if we never learn how to square up the wrist the right way, you just hit these massive blocks to the right. So you get a better swing, get your weight shift, everything's nice and smooth, you swing faster, it all feels like it's great, and you look up and the ball is just going 20, 30 yards to the right. Well, there's a specific way that the pros are moving their wrist to square up the face. And once you get that down, very, very intuitive, very, very easy. I'm going to play a preview of a drill that I call the tennis racket drill. And in that one, I'm going to show you exactly how to get this club from more of a shallower plane and square up the face, have it be to where you know it's going to turn over from right to left every single time by using the left wrist and the right wrist in a specific way. Very, very easy to do. I call it the tennis racket drill. I'll play a preview of that video here in a second. And then all you need to do is go ahead and click on one of the cards that pops up on your screen. Or if you don't see the card, don't worry about that. Just go down to the description below, click the link there. You pair that up with this weight shift move we talked about here today, and it's like having the complete puzzle. You get the weight shift, you get the club shallowed out, you get it from the inside, and then you make sure that every daggone time that face is turning on over, you have that beautiful draw. So I can't wait to share it with you. I'll see you in the tennis racket drill right now. Let's go and get started. Good player problems. We're going to talk about shallowing that club shaft out as we're starting down, as we're doing this rotating of the face that we worked on in the last video. As we start this downswing, what you'll see with basically all of the top players is instead of coming kind of over the top and letting the hands come out away from their body, letting the club come out away from their body, again coming down steep into the ball and then having to open up, kind of fillet open the face and add loft to it. The flattening of the shaft should happen as soon as we start down. So as we start this downswing, what we want to have happening here, you can imagine that if I draw a line from the hosel of my club up through my right elbow, that's my swing plane line, my elbow plane. As I go to the top of the swing, I'm going to be slightly above that. And then as I start down, I want my hands to start to shallow out. I want the club to shallow out inside of this elbow plane. And at the same time, I'm going to be